a British Grand Prix. It's a great start from Tim Stahl and a lot of wheel spin from Peter Sabos. They head into T1 now. Christian Romao taking it up the inside of Regan Milana, claiming that P3 position. Mike Van Dorn trying to get a move on Regan as well. He looks to be falling a bit backwards there as they head into the old hairpin. They all start to single file as we now start to see the rest of the competitors. Looks like a couple drivers going off. There is Klaus, almost 3 wide there, and losing the rear end, and he is off the circuit. Couple drivers as well, P22, P23, also in no man's land. Tim Shaw in the lead here so far. Peter Sabo catching up there, and look at that, Conti having a chance here, trying to go for Mike Van Dorn's P5. It looks to the inside of the chicane, but backing out just in time. Super Steinberg just behind as they now head into the Melbourne hairpin section. Through Red Gate, and it's nose to tail this section. And there's trouble there. Torres around the final corner getting it wrong, and he's gone going. A lot of drivers also getting it wrong. Very interesting. Van Dorn, deep trouble here. Side by side to the chicane. Conti's gonna force it down the inside. There's contact, and it's gotten worse for Conti, and he's sent off the circuit. He's gonna get himself back going, but that is trouble here for the early goings of this one. Back on track, and that dive down the inside may have been a bit too premature, as Steinberg gonna take an advantage from a slow exit from Mike Van Dorn. And ladies and gentlemen, if you remember last week between these two, well, it's gonna get a bit spicy. Does Van Dorn now play a lot more aggressive here, defending against Evan Steinberg, Super Steinberg, as we go through Hollywood now. This is a real Hollywood blockbuster for Super Steinberg if he can get this one done on Mike Van Dorn. Mike, who have been struggling all throughout this championship, the worst of the worst last week. He's really gonna put the defense on now for Evan Steinberg. And Steinberg losing out a bit of grip and not able to go through that time around. Milana as well. Hasn't really hampered Peter, doesn't look like it. But here we go. Battle for second. Both of them on opposite tires. Sabo on the hards, Milana on the softs. You can clearly see how quick that soft compound is as they fight. Tim Shaw in the pits. Peter has gone deep, and Regan Milana side-by-side contact is made between the two drivers. Peter holding on to the inside, more contact is made as that happens. Tim Stahl get the free stop, exiting the pits, and now Regan, what does he do? Tucks to the slipstream, goes to the inside, has to back out, and that one's not going to go through. Peter's about nonetheless is going to go way too deep, and that mistake will officially cost him P2. So we're going to return back to Conti in just a moment. Give him his flowers, being in the top 10. Peter Sabo picking up the pace now. And subsequently, Christian Romao able to come through. And Christian, of course, he is also fighting in this championship as well. And he's currently sitting in P5. He's behind Tim Stahl. And they're actually tied on points, 28 points apiece. But this on-track battle here is going to get very juicy. And oh, Peter Sabo, very similar to how he lost the position against Regan Milana going deep into turn 1. He squeezes that Mercedes on the outside, but I think that slow exit's just going to cost him way too much time. Romao is going to snipe himself a P3, and Peter Sabo, this strategy going on a hard middle stint, really showing its true colors out here. And it is going to be a massive defensive fight if Regan's going to hold on to Peter Sabo. And a better entry there on Old Hairpin. Is that going to seal the deal? Regan Milana holding on there. Peter backing up. The door was shut. As they get through to McLean's. Up the hill to the under. And still, this battle gets close. And that one little back off there from Peter Sabot allows Christian back into this fight. Peter trying to get ready for the optimal line into Melbourne. It may have costed him. Here comes Christian Ramau. Peter defending the inside. Christian on the outside. Can he pull the switchback of dreams? Maybe not this time. He has the final corner left to go. And Regan's going to be cheering Christian. He's going to say, come on, keep putting pressure on Peter Sabot so I can get away. And now, side by side in the T1. Is there any chance? Christian, has he got his side by side? Through the Hollywood section now. It's very close between the two. Audi versus Mercedes. It's old hairpin. Little bit of contact. And Christian Ramau, what a move there, is going to get Peter Sabot. And that fighting was exactly the plan for Regan Milana. It's what he needed. He's about almost 2 seconds ahead. Regan defending the inside. Remember, still on hard compounds. He's got 10 minutes to defend P2. But for how long? Christian Ramau, big chance here. Don't forget about Peter Sabot. Into turn one. And over under. Christian may have got it. Has he? Regan squeezing through Hollywood. What a shot. What a shot here. Christian Ramau down the inside of Old Hairpin. He's got the move done. Finally, he's got it on Regan. Does Regan go for one shot of glory? He does so down the inside. Door is open. Side by side, double right-hander. Regan's got to send it up the inside of this one if he wants any chance. Those hards not going to survive longer. Are we going to see three wide or potentially? They're neck and neck, Regan and Peter. Christian Ramau ahead firmly, it looks to be. Peter Sabot able to nick Regan Milana. But not the best of exit into the chicane. Regan Milana now side by side into Melbourne hairpin. Over under, and nothing can be done there. Let's talk about him for the last couple seconds of this race as he comes around here. What a performance here from Tim Stahl. As he comes around, Melbourne hairpin, once again, class of the field. And he's gonna come around the final corner here. And Tim, what a beautiful performance, dominating from start to finish. Tim Stahl will take the race victory here at Donington Park. What a fight. What a fight that was. Meanwhile, I did see it on the little screen there. Conti is going to get Ilham Lesmana on track. Top three front straight in podium position. Please, the rest to the pits. What an enjoyable race that was. Let's look for the bottom drivers as well. Christian Ramau to second place. And then followed by, where is he? Looking for him. I want to see him. Oh, can we find him? There he is. Christian Ramau in second. And Regan Milana will take third place. What a performance from him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. And look where we are for the first time in CMRSC history. We land here at Indonesia for the Mandalika International Circuit. It's not the British Grand Prix, it's the Indonesian Grand Prix. Let's get that fixed, shall we? But welcome to this fantastic round here. It's the penultimate round of the championship, and there are a lot at stake here. Shout out, of course, to CMRT for the amazing widgets here and timing board, of course. It is absolutely amazing. Where is it? Let's try to find this here, as drivers are just coming to the end of the session. I think it actually might be here this whole time. There we go. Yep. All right, we're sorted. So, formally, welcome to today's round of racing. And yeah, we have some incredible stuff here for you today. It's the penultimate round, but we have to give a massive shout out to the individuals who made it possible for us to go racing here at this specific mod. And of course, I am talking about, for you today, Lino Projects. So a massive shout out to Lino Projects for allowing us to use this fantastic mod. Head on over into the description to check out the mod itself. The 7.0 is out on Overtake GG. The drivers are finishing up practice, and we're gonna get ready for qualifying here. And Steinberg is gonna show off what Superman can do in the air, but we hope when we say he's flying, he's actually doing it on the track. Oh wow, okay. Almost killing a marshal there. But welcome, another great set of drivers here today. Who do we have? Andy Park, Christian Romao, Mike Van Doren, Tim Stahl, Kasper Tezayaki, Evan Steinberg, Layla, Miss Midnight Bloom. I have Gustavo in here, Danny Nasseir, Martin Webster, Nixon, Mark, Amelie, Jarrell, Ilham, Torres, Milana, and Young. The eyes are going to be set on those certain drivers with the Indonesian flag. Riga Milana, Ilham Lesmana, and those are going to be your drivers to really watch out for this one. So, we're going to get qualifying underway. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome to CMRSC. If we take a look at the schedule, this is how it looked. So we've already completed the first 3 rounds of this championship, and we're firmly in the second half of it. Mandalika, that's where we're at today, and next week out, we head to Moza. And taking a look at the format, we've just completed free practice, and now we're into 15 minutes, I should say, of qualifying. Drivers gonna set their fastest lap out here, and then it's all down to racing conditions. 60 minutes of racing. They're gonna have a mandatory compound change window, where they're gonna have to go from softs to hards or hards to softs. No pit limiter as well, so they're going to be flying in really fast, and no virtual safety cars. Now that you're up to speed, now you got to figure out who you're going to be watching. Well, we're in the penultimate round of the championship, so this is what you have to look out for. Tim Stahl and Riga Milana tied for the championship lead, followed by Christian Romao, Luca Andretta, and Evan Steinberg. That's your top 5. And the only person you got to know that's not here today, Luca Andretta. So, big eyes, lots of eyes, are going to go to the man who's going to be farming ore today, Regan Milana. But before we get to him, we got to take a look at who's going to be setting the fastest lap time. And the man who's going to lead us off here is Mike Van Doren, the Dutchman who is leading comfortably the playoffs, the preseason standings. It's an absolute fantastic effort from him throughout 2025. In chat, shout out AC Friends, Watt Racing for 2 wins today, potentially, as they are going to be following Tim Stahl throughout this one. Can't wait to see what he does as well. Can he hold off his championship lead? This will give him the best prime opportunity at giving him the championship lead in order to seal the deal in Italy. So, all eyes will be on him, and he's actually behind the pink Beamer, the Barbie car, as we're looking at right now, as you see Van Doren pushing very hard, looking to really improve on this lap. It's his first lap, of course, so anything and everything can go down here. What is it going to be for Mike Van Doren? As ACF also, driving at Sebring, and they They have the overall lead. What iRacing? Here comes Van Dorn. Round the final corner to the line now. And across the line, the driver's going to be chasing down. Well, a time that's set by Andy Park. So Van Dorn's time invalid. Tim Stahl, 20.601. Park in the Mercedes, gonna go for a 20.116. More times coming to the line here. And as it stands right now, Riga Milana, he's taking that straight into the pits, and Andy Park is going quicker this lap. So going through the flat-out left and right-handers of this beautiful, fast circuit out here. More supporters in chat, this time for Andy Park as we're on board right now. What can Andy do? Andy, of course, not been able to show up for every single round, but when Andy has, it's been stellar performances, must-watch action. Purple in the first sector, it's exactly the color you gotta look for around here. And now, just a couple quarters to go, and it's the final corner now. It's really tricky out here, the braking zone. You want to get as wide as possible, not too wide. You want to be braking late, not too late. And there you just see, it's just a constant right-hander, following, leading, flick it to the left-hander, now using all the curb on the exit there. And to the line now, and across it, even faster, Andy Park with a 1:19.867. So a great effort, and Park's going to take that straight to the pit. As well as Tim Stahl, which has improved, a 1:24.73, but Park, the only driver right now to be in the 119s. So first bit of qualifying complete, and 16 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much for tuning into Caribbean Motor Racing Simplip. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That would mean so much as we are on course for 3,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot. So there's Christian Ramau, who now goes up to second place with a 1:22.07. Ement in chat, how is your popcorn? We don't want to talk about popcorn here. I've already said my 2 cents about popcorn. If you know, you know. But if you don't worry about it. Riga Milana, let's go watch him for a second. At home, the fastest Indonesian driver, and we got to take a look at this. Now, can you see it? That's the aura farming on the tire. Thank you to Nixon for creating such an amazing tire there. So he'll be constantly aura farming. I can't play the music, of course. But Regan Milana here at home Grand Prix, and eyes are going to be on him. He's the fastest Indonesian driver here today. So what's going to go down? Is there a chance that he could potentially take a race win? Well, all eyes will be on him, and it will be a stellar one. But before you can get to that point, you got to get through qualifying, and right now he's sitting in P4. Not bad, but P2 sounds a lot better. He lines up next to Andy Park now with a 1:22.00, 7/1000ths of a second faster than Christian Ramau. So qualifying getting very spicy out here, as Tim Stahl kind of falling back a little bit. He's down at 1:20.4, so a lot of work to do to put down some time, but still, it's Andy Park continuing to hold on. Cannot forget about this man right here, Ilham Lesmana. So racing for the BWT NanoShift team, they won the costume contest. Well, it was NanoShift, the franchise NanoShift. It wasn't these two drivers exactly, or was it? I gotta double check that, but the NanoShift party taking some points for the costume contest back at Watkins Glen for round 2. Of course, congratulations to them, earning them some lovely bonus points to the team standings. Let's give some time to him, and let's watch what can this Mercedes do. Trying to put out a proper flyer here, yet to finish a lap. And chat, currently talking about the graining of the tires. That actually brings us to what the conversations have been about these tires. As you see, Spinala Ilhan Lesman is going to take that straight to the pits, and once again, a lap without a time on the board. He's got some work to do. He's really got to push on. But with the tires, the soft compounds, if you really baby them, they can go a really long time. We've saw it back at Hockenheim. Luca Andretti able to go over half distance with the soft compound tire, not worrying about the hards. The hards just not feeling great with these cars. As you see Van Dorn, ultimate gamer line through there as Crawford just getting out the way for the Dutchman, and the Barbie car is going to start this lap up once again. That's really the sector that a lot of the drivers are just not getting right whatsoever. But looking for if anybody is on a good lap time here, Milana is. So that's a driver to look out for. On board now. This is exactly where Van Dorn went deep off the circuit, back on. And so far looking fine. 2 corners left to go. And Purple, he's holding on to it with a 23.5. This could be huge if he can put this one on pole position. Can Regan Milana do it? To the line now. It's not, but look how close it gets. Well then, Regan also setting the purple third sector. He just got it wrong in the first. But we're in store. He's only 3/10 down, but if he can improve, that would be absolutely huge. So, big opportunity here. Torres as well, getting the third sector. We were just about to talk to him. Hilver Torres, fastest in the third sector. That is absolutely huge for one of the newcomers here in Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. So what's going to go down here? Tim Stahl now, of course, your previous pole sitter. What can he do? He was pole at Donington Park. He's looking for the bonus point. Every point's going to matter. If he can get pole, this will be huge for the championship. As he continues that, we're also going to take a look at the small screen here. Andy Park coming around the last couple of turns now. I know it's very, very hard to see, but final corner. Andy Park racing to the line. What can Andy do on this lap? Is it improvement on it? It is not. It's a 125.06 for Park. But meanwhile, we continue to watch Tim Schall now, the German driver, ACF on the back of Tim Stahl. He's supporting the whole group as a whole, as well as Watt Racing. And of course, they are currently competing at the ACF Sebring event going on. You can check that out. Shout out ACF, of course. Well, to mainly allow one of your drivers to race with us for a little bit. I know he's got his own team. But still, double duty for this man. He's very busy for the rest of the day. So DMs are closed with him, that's for sure. Tim Stahl, 2 corners left to go. Make it 1 corner. It looks pretty decent this lap, so it should jump him up, Christian Ramau, at least if he can nail down that sector, and he doesn't, but he's going to improve on that third sector, very important for him. Regan Milana, meanwhile, finding some improvement in the first sector, but just off in the second, keeping it firmly within those limits, and now flying through the S section here, very tight, but very clean. Regan's putting through, and now just that harsh braking zone here at the final part of the lap. And 1 corner to go for him. Regan Milana currently sitting at a 120.173 as he races to the line. It's improvement with a 120.159, but nothing can be done just yet. So still, it's Andy Park continuing here in qualifying on pole position. so far. First sector now, not really much improvement here. We're also going to take a look at... Oh, whoa. What is Regan doing? Is he trying to maybe, like, alter his gauge? Nah, he's stretching his arm here. Look at that. Can we see that in car, actually? Now he fixed up. As soon as the cameras were on him, he made his arms go back to normal. I don't know what kind of magic he was doing in the car, but if it's going to help him take pole position here today, by all means, try it, but, you know, be safe out there. I should not tell these drivers to take their hands off the wheel. That is the worst thing I could do. But look at this one here. This individual, Kilvet Torres. Very quick in the top 10. I wonder how he did it. Purple in the third sector, absolutely flying out here. There you see him through the S section. The Mercedes doing wonderful work. As it stands right now, that top 4 is really frozen shut for the majority part of this qualifying. We're coming down to it. 1 minute is left to go. Is there any chance at any positions being swapped around? Well, only time will tell. 50 seconds left to go. That's the exact time. And Park is taking it into the pits, so Andy Park on it quits. Not going to worry about continuing this one as Torres just locking up the rears. And, oh, rear end absolutely all over the place. Jarrell Moore is going to come around. He's going to have to concede that position. Jarrell on a lap here. And going to cross it, too. So that's not going to be very helpful. And Torres, rightfully so, just going to take it to the pits. Not fun with that lap. Tim Stahl, however. Oh, that mistake there. He's going to go wide. Fit 13 seconds to the line. Can he make it? Time's ticking fast. It's going to be tight. Can Tim make it around for one more lap? I don't think he's going to do it. He's not. He's going to go straight to the pits. Van Dorn as well is going to drive straight to the pits. He's going to call it quits as well. And Tim, I think he's actually going to pick up a third sector. That's funny. But as it stands right now, it's still Andy Park on pole. Could Christian Ramau, however, do something about it? This is a huge point opportunity for him. Big chance here. Christian now, a couple corners left to go. Any chance to improve this one? It's not purple, that's for sure, at least on our timing screen. And here we go. Christian Ramau crawling around the final corner. A lot of sliding there. Any improvement to take down Riga Milano or maybe take pole position to the line? And no, nothing can be done. So that's going to be qualifying done. Torres to the pits. Andy Park takes pole position, followed by Regan Milana and Christian Ramau. All right, great qualifying there. Congratulations, your top 3, Andy, Regan, Christian. All right, here we go. So the grid is now officially set. And, well, this one's going to be fun. So 2 minutes left to go. Let's go out here and check out the drivers on the grid. And that's your main man. Look at him. Beautiful livery. Done by myself here, of course, years ago. The Ferrari safety car. So just about 2 minutes away. All right, so let's go from the rear of this grid, and let's take a look at how this one's gonna look. So it's Mark Crawford rounding out the rear, followed by debut here, Gustavo Silveira, Martin Webster, Jarrell Moore, Amelie, Danny, Nixon, Kilworth, Marlon, Layla, Casper, Evan, Mike, Ilham, Tim, Christian, Regan, and Andy Park to round out your grid. So, it all comes down to this. It's the penultimate round of the championship. Let's remind you of how the standings are looking. Tim Stahl, Regan Milana tied on points. Christian Ramau, I'm not sure if I repeated myself here. Tim Stahl, Regan Milana tied on points. Christian Ramau, third place. Luca's not here, so eyes are going to be on Evan Steinberg. That's basically your top 5. And now we're going to get started with racing here today. And the 4 lights about to come on here today for this penultimate round where the championship could really set it here today. It's all time to go racing right about now. There we go. 4 lights on the board, and we go racing at it. Mandalika. So a fantastic start from Andy Park. Tim Stahl gonna try to go around the outside of Regan Milana, side by side into it. Trying to hold on desperately. There's a bit of contact that's made between the two, but Regan muscling his way through to hold on to the inside line as they all try to barrel through. A couple drivers going off the circuit momentarily. Ilham is one of them. They go 3 wide as they try to close up. Nixon trying to go through on the inside. Lesmana able to hold on, but it's the whole shot with Andy Park and Regan Milana trying to escape. But Tim Stahl, and look at the background, the 2 pink cars of Christian Ramau and Mike Van Dorn trying to attack. What a start for this one early on. And the top 5 feeling basically the same. Christian Ramau, though, kind of losing out a bit of time, but crowd is loving it here. So the Indonesian Grand Prix getting underway. 60 minutes of racing. And now around the final couple of corners here. And Park will lead off this first lap. Look at the lockups in the back. And once again, Ilham trying to go through, defending now from Super Steinberg just behind. Evan looking for a place, maybe able to get it. Ilham very, very slow. A corner exit, lost the rear end. And now Steinberg gonna take it up the inside, up to turn 1. Not gonna do it, backing out. Layla behind, trying to look for a move potentially. Not able to do it this time around. On board, Christian Ramau chasing down Mike Van Dorn for position. This is, of course, for 4th place. The Dutchman, of course, leading the championship. Oh, in the ROC standings, he goes wide off the track. They may go side by side in the fastest part of the circuit. They are going to do so. Van Dorn is going to go slightly off the circuit. Christian Ramau is going to try to hold on to that spot. Cannot do it. Christian Ramau backing off from it. Stays P5. But as those two continue, Stahl against Milana. This battle could get very interesting as well. Championship implications. Both of them fighting for the title. 2 crazy battles to watch out for. And look at that, getting all over the rear of the ambulance. Dr. Milana. Coming around the final corner, you'll see on the short screen, and it's actually a bit of trouble. Van Dorn goes deep. Christian's going to take advantage. Ramau to 4th place. And Van Dorn with a great start, just going to lose down that position. But look at the top 5 on the map. They've already broken away from the competition. What a start this is turning out to be. Tim getting very close to Regan Milana. This could be drama. Let's get that rear cam. Gaining all over the rear. Could he put a move on to the inside? second. Regan's going to get back the move. Behind them, side by side, as Mike Van Doorn trying to get back the move on Christian Ramau. Side by side, Van Doorn's going to have the inside line, and he's going to be able to take that position back from Christian. Many championship implications on the line here today. Van Doorn not allowing Christian any air to breathe. The Brazilian having to fight tooth and nail against one of the fastest drivers in CMRSC today. Boy, you cannot get better racing than this. Christian will have to find another way to do it, and I don't think Mike is going to afford any more mistakes. He did go a little bit wide, however. That's going to allow a slipstream here up to turn 1. You see Christian poking his head onto the inside, but he's just not going to take that bait. But meanwhile, as we continue off here in this one, you see a bit slow there through the S section there. Christian really trying desperately to get this move. He might be able to do it through the slipstream here. All over the rear this time, flat out. Oh, he's lifted. He went wide off the circuit. It's going to be track limit violations for him. Does he take it up the inside nonetheless? He's not. He'll back off, and I'll try this one a different time. Meanwhile, there you see on the short screen there, Kasper Teziaki chasing down Nixon for P7. Absolutely fantastic effort from these drivers here today. Meanwhile, there's yellow flags. What went down? I think Mike potentially went a little deep off the circuit. Brought out some yellows momentarily. You see Christian trying to pull up the over-under. Andy Park, fastest lap of the race with a 1:25.30. Here comes Christian Ramau. Another opportunity to get this move done on the inside. BMW versus Mercedes. What a rivalry it is in the real world. And in the sim world, it's almost exactly the same. The Brazilian pushing Van Doorn to the absolute limit. He'll have the inside line. Christian will get the move done. Van Doorn back down, relegated to 5th place. And chat is saying, Christian on that Brazilian funk. I do see somebody mentioning me in the chat. Temtem, I see. I will talk to you in just a moment. But what incredible racing we have here today. Meanwhile, Martin Webster and Torres going off the circuit, losing them some time. But they're back on and going. So far, though, looks like we have more. No, it looks like he may have retired. 5 minutes in the pits. Gustavo, however, this could be a pit stop here. That is not something that you want in this one, that's for sure. Layla, potentially maybe coming out of the pits as well. P17 Gustavo is also heading back out on circuit. He'll meet Andy Park very soon. Left traffic could be a problem early on, and we're not even 10 minutes into the race, and there may be some more trouble because Gustavo has retired. He is out. So your first retirement out here after 4 laps of this one. He's going to take it straight to the pits. So that's his race done. That's a shame. Debut here. Meanwhile, Tim Stahl, he's got the move on Riga Milana. He's done it. Didn't see it live, but Riga Milana relegated down to 3rd place. Tim Stahl, 2nd now. And he's going to set his sights on Andy Park, who's opened up the gap to 7 seconds. Really wish we could have saw that one live, but I think we just caught the latest part of it. So has that just unleashed Tim Stahl to go after Andy Park? Or is Riga Milana just saving those tires? I mean, let's take a look at those tires for the moment. Can we see it? I might have to tell you. There we go. So, Andy Park, Tim Stahl, that makes sense. Tim Stahl full aggressive on the soft compounds, but don't forget, Riga Milana also going for that strategy too. Christian Ramau, interestingly, getting the move done on the hards against Van Doorn, but there you see just not getting that final corner right. That's exactly how he lost the position the last time. Meanwhile, Torres side by side with Martin Webster, and Webster is going to get that one done easily. No stress from that move there. And Torres, can he get that move back? And Mercedes trying to get a move on this time. But no, a little too far back. Van Doren, however, looking for an opportunity to get past. Regan Milana also doing the same thing. He's still 5/10 behind. Different manufacturers, Mercedes, Audi, Mercedes, BMW. Who's leading? It's a Mercedes. So the Silver Arrows trying to dominate this one. P15 of Marlon Young into the pits, and he's already heading right back out. But you already see they're both gaps, both of these fights here in this top 5, separated by about 7/10 exactly. We also have this battle here, 6/10. As Nixon trying to chase down Kasper Tasayaki, excuse me. On board with the driver from Trinidad. Oh, hold on a second. This is interesting. Christian Romao has taken it into the pits. Remember, he was on the soft compounds. He also jumps his box. That's going to allow Van Doren to take this lead here from him if things stay the same. So Christian Romao taking it to the pits early on in this race. Remember, early pit stops did affect the outcome back last week at the British Grand Prix. So it's actually very interesting to see what he may pull off. Has he come out of the pits? He has. He might be side by side. No, he's behind Danny Nasseir, but he's going to be on the soft compound tires. He's going to want to make some quick mark of Danny Nasseir. Danny's, of course, on the soft compounds. They're both on the softs, but there you see the pace difference. What makes one of the top drivers here in CMRSC and Danny Nasseir, they're both racing for position. Christian, however, needs to get the move on very quick. This is the best opportunity to do it on the back straight here. Going through the S section, flat out here. The Aston Martin just ahead. And he's going to take it down to the inside. Will Danny fight this one off? No. He looks to let this one go. Realizing, you know what? That's not my fight here today. I don't want to lose any more time. He's going to be starting to chase down those top drivers. So heading back up to the front, Regan Milana not leaving Tim Stoll alone at all. Just like the championship, if you're just tuning in, look at the top 2 drivers. Regan Milana, Tim Stoll, tied for the lead of the championship in the penultimate race of the DTM season. One of the most exciting seasons since 2022's Sander van Leeuwen versus Justin Nasseir. You can't get much better than that. We drove a bit of contact, however. Ilham Lesmana, and I think it was against Torres, who is now taking it straight to the pits. And Ilham kind of going from bad to worse since the start of the race. And somebody who's just slid the car, and that is Torres, who has lost pit entry there for the moment. And now, getting his pit stop underway, and both of those drivers, Ilham and Kilverth, it's just trouble here early on. But back up to this battle, like I was saying, Regan, he doesn't want to leave this battle alone. He needs second. They're both on identical tires, just different manufacturers. And Tim is not able to close up to Andy Park. And look at this. Regan with a small window open for the moment. Can he get a great exit here? Following out, and you see Tim hugging the inside wall. He'll have the outside line and the better run into turn 1. And look in the back, you see the lonely Mike Van Doren, who doesn't have Christian Romao to worry about. But Christian, by pitting early on, has set all these drivers' alarms as the undercut is very much underway, and it's up to these guys to know how they're going to defend it, because the more they're going to battle, they're going to lose a lot of time. Christian, you're going to find him by the end of this race, and speaking of which, he's already making work. Now, Christian is not smooth sailing from here. He's got to overtake everyone, and look at that fellow countryman there, immediately allowing Christian to go through. Hey, there's no rule saying you can't. And Christian's going to do that gladly, and he's going to get through. So I think I'm going to have a chance to read this chat here. I remember CMRSC a few years ago. Weird to see myself not racing, but I suppose he did have to be nerfed somehow. Oh, come on. A little history lesson. I stopped sim racing in CMRSC since January 2022. So I'm not too sure if it really has been that long, but let me know who you are in chat and I'll remember your name. Another lap complete. This is lap 10. It's not a lap race, but expect these drivers to go about 45 laps in this one. So a long way to go. Who else in chat? What are we saying here? Why win one championship when you can do 2 in 1? Tim Stahl probably. Honestly, yeah. But his life is far from over because Regan Milana, driver at home, the race win it's far right now. It's 7 seconds far. But does Regan care? I don't think so. He just wants to perform the best he can, and I don't blame him. And to do it against the championship rival here today, absolutely huge. Stunning here. 16 concurrent viewers as Layla allowing blue flags respectively to allow this battle to continue. If you're loving the action here and you want to get into sim racing, want to upgrade your sim racing equipment, check out Thrustmaster. They have released their new products here, and my fan favorite, the T818, the amazing direct drive wheelbase. And you can use code CMRSC on checkout. Trouble! Tim Stahl slides the rear. Tim Stahl loses the rear end at the penultimate corner here of the circuit. And Regan Milana will go through. Absolutely huge. Meanwhile, Andy Park misses his pit box at the end. That is absolutely huge. So many altercations in such a short amount of time. I think Tim just lost the rear end. Apologies there for flashing the window screen at you, but holy moly, that was insane. Tim Stahl, an error there. Was it pressure? Was it the curb? Whatever it may be, he's just lost some time, and those soft tires are not being that nice to him anymore. As that goes on, Andy Park may have lost himself about 2 or 3 seconds in the pit lane, overshooting the pit box. We cut to him live now. He's in P4. Luckily for him, he hasn't dropped too far. Now, if your name is either Regan Milana or Mike Van Dorn, you're in prime position to potentially get this race on top here. Mike, however, has some work to do. Oh, he's cut the track, though, to chase down Tim Stahl. But Regan may have found himself in prime position. Does Tim enter the pits? No, he does not. He stays out another lap. Van Dorn gonna start to put the pressure on. That one slide may have just cooked the soft tires. And the chances of trying to run that tire longer may have just gone down the drain. Meanwhile, take a look at Kasper Tazayaki and Christian Romeo. Christian will get that one done on the outside, and now P6 is his. He doesn't even know that all the battling up the front with all the mistakes are going down where he would be in that battle. All that stands now is Super Steinberg. Evan, what do you do? Are you going to be nice with this championship fight? Remember, Christian Romeo and Evan Steinberg battling in the championship. And this is the fight that is, in fact, must watch. We also have Crawford sitting in the pit lane, continuing to be busy out here. As down the inside, Christian Romeo goes, and he's gone a little too deep, side by side, and Steinberg has sent Christian off the circuit. Kasper will go down the inside. A little bit of lag there from him. It's not what Christian needs right now. Needs to get through. And look at that. Nixon as well trying to go through. Nixon able to. A little bit of bumping there, but Christian Romeo has just lost a crucial amount of time in the short span of that moment there. That is a nightmare. Now Christian has got a lot of trouble. What do you do now? Side by side, Nixon gonna try to take advantage of Kasper, a little bit shaken up. Don't blame him. But that is very interesting. Layla, that you see in the background, trying to go through, but Nixon holding up very well, or is Nixon holding on to the curb and luckily holding on. Now, this kind of shakes things up a bit. Christian Romao's advantage, it's not going to be as effective at all. It's gone. And the best he can get, maybe the podium if he's lucky, from all the pit stops. But once we get everyone back together at racing conditions, when everyone pits around Christian, that's where he's going to start to fly around here. But for him to do that, he's going to have to make some work done. Luckily, drivers like Tazayaki's taking it straight to the pits, and there you see it down the inside, a very slow inside move, and you see, oh no, trouble there. Has he entered the pits? Oh, whoa, that is very close. Steinberg was like, I cannot pit now. I gotta stay out. That's not my strategy. Losing the rear end. I would have said just go through the pits. Take your pit stop now. But it wasn't part of his strategy. Nixon probably got a heart attack there, realizing, oh my goodness, that's a driver that was in my way. But take a look at who's back now. It's Andy Park. And look how quick Andy Park caught up to this pack. And keep in mind, Andy already pits. Van Dorn, Tim Stoll, Regan Milana, they haven't even pitted yet. And Andy collapsing the field with the pace, managing to hold on. In fact, without a pit stop, Andy is going to go around the outside. It's going to be very tight. Side by side, Van Dorn, long way around. Andy Park to the inside will get that move done. Andy Park is in another zip code with the pace. So then, this has really turned the tides now. Andy Park, of course, going for a race win. Ooh, trouble, however. Martin Webster, there was a bit of contact with... We're getting word it was from Regan Milana. Oh, maybe. AC Regan trying to get through lap traffic. And he does so, but may have lost about half a second. He has lost half a second. And not that far behind. Andy Park chasing down Tim Stahl. And look at that, round the outside to the inside now. Side by side, neck and neck into the left-hander. Can Tim hold on to that move? He lets it go. Andy Park, ladies and gentlemen, continuing to dominate this race, trying to get back up to the lead before anyone has made a pit stop. That's going to end, however, because he's going to take it. Regan's going to take it straight to the pits. Tim is also going to do the same thing. Does Mike follow through? He does not. Regan's going to need a quick stop. Tim's going to need a quicker stop if this battle's going to go down. Here we go. So both of them in the pits now, and Regan's going to come right out the pits. Tim is going to fuel up that car, get those hard compounds on, and he's going to be out of the pit lane, and he's gone. So, battle on now. They both made their mandatory pit stop. Meanwhile, anybody else looking busy in pit lane? It looks to be Torres. And shout out once again, Lido Projects for this amazing track here. We're live. Mandalika International Circuit, done by Lido Projects. Shout out, and if you want to support them, check out the link in the description. Download the track on Overtake GG. Give a friendly review. And this is the mod. You're going to be getting high quality stuff. The Indonesian Grand Prix, not possible without Lido Projects. Thank you again. So, as we continue this Grand Prix here, pit stops are made. Park on a mission to open up the gap and absolutely send it. And you've already seen Park has just gone through the X-Play duo. It's not the OG duo, it's Martin Webster and Mark Crawford. Marlon Young is actually the lead driver from the X-Play crew, P11. It's honestly a shame. I wish we could see more of Marlon Young in this championship as Van Doorn heads into the pits. Oh, there is trouble. Who is that? It's Torres. He's off the circuit. Stuck in the gravel potentially. Can he get back going? So, has he bursted a tire? He's bursted a tire. He's actually got a puncture. So Torres has a puncture. He's in the middle of the dunes. I have never seen anything like it. That might be the first time we've ever seen a puncture live as Amelie heading into the pits for the pit stop. I don't think Torres knows that he has a puncture. He's trying to save this car, fishing it. Doesn't want to take it to the pits because the rule is if you're going to teleport to the pits, it's an automatic DNF. Pushing very hard. He'll get a warning from race direction if this is going to be a dangerous car on the circuit. Now, of course, yellow flags are going to come out. But if he can nurse this car back to the pits, as Park has come in for a two-stop, we're going to keep an eye on Torres. But as it stands right now, Park has jumped the box again for a second time. He's jumped the box. So from the soft compounds, he's done a two-stop here. And he's back going again. So another pit stop done for Andy Park. He's back out going P3. Well, that's gotten interesting. So Regan and Tim and Andy, top three on the soft compounds. As for Van Doorn, oh, he's also on the hards. It's Christian Ramal you have to look back for on the softs. Now, where's Torres? Torres is still going. I'm willing for you, bro. If you can get to the pits, you're still free to continue. However, he's wildly off the track. Yellow flag's going to be pointed out to him, and well, he's back onto the circuit here momentarily. Well, respect to him, he's staying out the way of the racing action. That's the most important part. And he's about to enter the pit lane. So, you know what? Oh, brother, he spun the car. Pit entry's right there. If you can get there, you're good. Here come the leaders. They're going to be seeing some yellows up the road. And there you see Tim. Torres. Round of applause. Torres getting to the pits on three wheels. I can confidently say he's the first man to do it. At least what we've seen on stream. Proper puncture there from him. So let's continue this one here. Pit stops continuing on throughout this one. And Andy Park, so far, the only driver in this race, for this race win, going for the two-stop. How's that going to turn out? A double soft stint, I believe it was. So now it comes down to this. How are you going to push on if you're going to finish with this hard tire? Are you going to go for a third stop and go for the softs when everyone pits? Or is this potentially going to be a hard race here? Lots of questions and answers to be told in about 30 minutes time when we can crown a race winner here today. But as it stands, Regan Milana holding on now, the new race leader. And we are not too sure if he's going to be coming into the pits anytime soon. But one thing we do know, there is yellows on the front straight. Marlon Young in the pits. Marlon Young is out of the Indonesian Grand Prix. Webster also in the pits. I heard a horn there for the moment. Not too sure who that was. Could be Tim Stahl. But that is mighty unfortunate. I was trying to talk to him for the moment there. Marlon Young, you're defending DTM World Champion 2024. And unfortunately, he is going to sit this one out. And I think at this point, he's going to start to watch over the team and see if they can collect some points. But this is your battle you're watching for P2. Tim Stahl, Andy Park. And you see Tim just going a bit wide, trying to hold on. What aura this truly is. Tim Stall on a one-stopper at the moment. Andy Park, 2 stops, leading this race. Then 1 pit stop, going backwards, leading back the race, passing Tim Stall, then backwards again, and now he looks to be overtaking him for another time in this race. Meanwhile, all these drivers on different intricate strategies throughout this race. But as for Tim, what do we see him do? And I think we're going to get some word soon in the paddock pen of some of our drivers who are out of this race. And yes, Marlon Young struggling to keep the tires under temperature. And may have just overheated the tires and just not working out for him and retires out of this one. So, once again, another shame for Marlon Young in this DTM World Championship. A one that was truly dominated by X-Play. Andy Park, however, not leaving Tim Stall alone. Tim has honestly had the biggest headache in this race. Fighting and defending constantly. No break. Unlike Van Doren, he got a break because Christian Romao pitted early. But it might not be that far off until he'll come back. You already see him in the foreground. But look at how much pressure Andy Park is putting down here. On board with Park in the Mercedes. The Silver Arrows dueling. But a little slow exit there. Stall losing out some time. It's Tim Stall. We'll get a 10-second time penalty for cutting the circuit. That's just not me seeing that in the race. Everyone, including Regan Milano, will see that. Tim now forced to, well, he's going to have his cut tracks reset now. But going wide like that is costing him officially. And this time, at the end of this race, if he doesn't have a gap that's greater than 10 seconds, he's going to lose that position. It's just not working out for him. All the pressure. I just don't blame him. The amount of constant defending and attacking throughout this race. No breaks whatsoever. All gas. Meanwhile, as we continue this Grand Prix, we also see Amelie against Nixon. BMW versus Audi. The Brazilian against the driver from Trinidad. There's trouble. Danny Nasseir off the circuit. May have made contact with Lesmana. Now, last week out, Lesmana and Danny Nasseir came together. So, yeah, man. This is absolutely huge. But, regardless, though, back up to the front, Andy Park, Tim Stall, once again fighting for second place. Tim, does he decide to enter the pits anytime soon? He's battling against a driver on the same car, on the same tires. Looking for a move done as well. You also have Mike Van Doren's biggest nightmare of Christian Romao returning back to the fray after his early pit stop. Christian on soft tires wanted to take this one long, but your true battle is this one here. Andy Park, nowhere near the points top, but just imagine if he was and this was all for the championship. Big Andy as well, flashing some headlights. .6 seconds the difference. He lunges it. Tim Stall didn't even see that one coming, but not to worry. It's not enough to get side by side, but look how close it is. Nose to tail. Park to the inside. It's side by side, and Park will be able to get the move done on Tim. Little bit argy-bargy, but that's another position gone there. Park up to second place. And if Park is going for this race win, he's got 7.3, 7.5 to the top. Now that is, of course, if Regan does not come in for a pit stop, and Regan Milana is going for a one-stopper to win this race. the importance of how this race has panned out, especially for Regan, reminds me of a time where Lando Norris, going for his first race win back at Russia all those years ago, where it was truly an underdog against the odds. It really feels like a proper underdog story for Regan Milana. And he's halfway home. 26 minutes left to go here in this race. Danny Nasseir, blue flags, and respectfully getting out the way. Else who's got Tim Stahl behind, and look at this, Christian Ramau also looking. Hunting down Mike Van Doren, doing a great job at closing this one up. Gotta give it to him. But if it wasn't for that little mistake, losing some time, getting caught in traffic, who knows what would have went down in that one if Christian could have stayed up and competed with the top drivers. I feel like he would have been past Van Doren at this point, but we would never know now at this point. And Ramau just has to get this move done on track the old-fashioned way. P11, P12, Crawford, Danny Nasseir entering the pits. Their stop. As that goes down, Tim just holding on to that 1 second buffer. And Mike Van Doren trying to get through 2.2 seconds to get back to this gap. And Tim starting to go full aggressive now. Starting to put his foot down, realizing I'm tired of all these guys trying to overtake me. And now he's going to try to put on a real aggressive move here if he can get it done on Andy Park. Of course, shout out to Tim. Not only this is his race today, he's going to be taking on the ACF Sebring at 12 hours. That's going on right now, where his team, I think from the last update I got, leading of that race. So, very interesting to see. He's on a very tight schedule, so we hope we can see him finish just one. Round the final corner, and he started to close up. So Park, maybe in a bit of trouble. And this is music to Regan's ears. Remember, we were saying the exact same thing last week out. We were saying that it would be music to Regan's ears if there was a battle for P2 or P3. Last week out, it was Regan against Christian Ramau and Peter Sabot. This week, Regan's going to be praying for Andy Park and Tim Stahl to fight a lot harder than they already are. Tezayaki coming in for a second stop. And Tim finding himself about 4/10 this time. And look how close he is getting to the rear end. Looking for a move. And it's just getting closer, but as it stands, the more they're going to fight. Van Doren is catching up. 1.8. The Flying Dutchman is going to want to get into this battle. If Tim cannot get this move done on Andy, and it looks to me that those hard tires really showing, sliding the rear. Tim, remember, Tim also had made a mistake. Oh, whoa, was there contact? I think there was. There may have been. We're getting word that there may have been some contact. Now, we can't review it right away. Park is not going to be happy if it actually was a little love tap. One thing's for sure, it's going to get reviewed. It's going to get reviewed after the race, but, well, that's very interesting. So now, we really got ourselves a fight here, and we are not too sure who's the one to blame at that. We're going to leave it alone, though. Because, truth be told, there's nothing that we can do here at the stewarding room. Or, sorry, the commentary room. We're going to leave that one be, but 1,000% under investigation. Tim Stahl Could he find himself in a penalty that pushes him down more down the order? I would love to see that one again. I wish we had proper replay cams that don't crash. We used to, but real penalty would not be too nice to it. Nixon in for another pit stop. But watching the replay, it's a very awkward camera to see it. It also just looks like Andy lost the rear end initially and then contact was made. Regardless, though, we don't know the full case, and we probably won't until a few days later when all points and penalties are dished out. So you can follow CMRSC on Instagram and Facebook, or join up the Discord to find out the final classification. Or if you want to wait it out, you can tune in next week for the finale of the DTM World Championship at Monza. For the Italian Grand Prix, it's must see. And we're getting word that Torres is letting us know that his wheel came off the table. Now, he's actually letting us know in Discord in the paddock pen while driving, so sir, put down that phone if you are texting and driving. But Riga Milana, take a look at this. Now, this is quite interesting. Riga Milana probably doesn't even know all the action that went on behind him. He should be switching on the softs at this point, and if this is the stop, the final stop for him, this is going to be a close race to the very end. Tim is going to take the lead of this Grand Prix, but Regan is going to be hunting. Here we go. Game on. So Tim's under big pressure now. What do, Tim? Do you go for your second stop in this race, or can you last that fuel to the very end of this one? This is going to get quite interesting. Meanwhile, as this one continues, you look in the background, Andy Park. Really wanting to get back into this race. After that spin, same thing with Tim. Could you imagine if Tim had never spun out the first time by himself? Who knows how big that gap would be against Regan? Or battling between Andy Park. So many questions. That's just what we love about the butterfly effect in motorsport. One thing could change the landscape. That's exactly what we're watching. And Christian Ramau, also another story. Early pit stop and traffic. Tim is going to come into the pits. And that's going to mean Riga Milana takes back the lead of this race. Two-stopper for Tim. Van Dorn is going to come through. Layla is going to get a 10-second time penalty. Tim now exiting pits. Andy Park, that's going to be your driver to look out for. Is it going to be close? Kind of neck and neck. You also see Torres coming through. Torres lap car is going to realize that he has blue flags. He has to let through Tim behind. Very tight section here. Gonna have to let through. And he's gonna do so. Around the, leaving it to the outside. So, I think karma has just been placed there. As Park pushing hard now and getting past Tim from the pit stops. And we're now down to it. Christian Ramau, like we talked about. He was going to be battling for P2. He could have been fighting for P1 if it wasn't for that mistake getting held up by the mid-pack of that early stop. But now, it's going to leave Christian in a prime opportunity to get some big points on the board. For Regan's sake, however, he's got about, let's call it 15 laps. Lock up from Van Dorn, 15 laps to go to call this one victory. A little bit of lag there from Christian Ramau. Not what we want here, exactly. But behind Andy Park, who is lapping faster. Last lap for Christian, 120.548. Last lap for Andy Park, 120.070. And up ahead, Van Doorn feeling the pressure, just playing the defense, losing time. All this happening. Regan Milana going for it. If he doesn't have to pit again, this is going to get very close. Well, as for Regan, he joined us back at Porsche Cup here in 2025. Debuted his first ever race result. Well, he was not really touching the top spots, but he was always a prospect in the top contentions, placing down his very first event in the top 5. We fast forward months and months throughout these championships, and you know, Regan constantly hunting down for glory but unable to. Always having the fanciest paint schemes, though, I will say. Oh, I heard a lock up there. P13, I think it was Layla who locked up the rears in the pits, so not on the straight. That's the most important part. Meanwhile, though, Christian on board. Is there any opportunity for Christian Romao to get this move done? It's 4/10, but he's got to get the move done quick, because right behind, it's Andy Park. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll also let you know, and I'm not giving him a commentator curse at all, I think everyone here at Indonesia willing him on. Regan's also going for his first win too. Can he do it? 10 seconds. Pit stop potentially could be underway for him. Only time will tell as we come towards the end of this Indonesian Grand Prix. A fantastic race that's really set the bar here, this top 5, and this is DTM. We're still missing the likes that I know they're watching out there somewhere. Lacey Evans, Eamon Espeir, Daniel Santos, Sven Versteeg. So many GT drivers deciding they're not going to complete this championship or not taking part of it at all. But we're going to see them very soon. Trouble for Torres. And he's got going. That's, of course, Race of Champions, the playoffs, which Christian Romao trying to get in. And this will help if he can especially pass the man who's leading the preseason, Mike Van Doorn. And here we go, down the inside. Christian Romao, Mike Van Doorn will go a long way around, and he'll try to get through. But no, Christian cannot get that move done. Just answer your question there, what happened to Tim? 2 incidents around the final corner, some spins. One incident that he did lose the rear end, it looked like. The second one coming into contact with Andy Park. Again, we're not going to put any fault on anyone because the angle didn't even look like he made contact with them. However, it's showing on our screens that there was contact. Was it because it was midway through Andy Park spinning? Regardless, Park, who was dominating this race, lost out time, and now we're getting a 3-way fight. A dogfight here that could turn into a 4-way battle, just like Donington. Sit back, folks. It's going to get hectic. 12 minutes, 38 seconds left to go. Christian Romao still looking for P2 after pitting early on in this race. Mike Van Doorn with the best result of this DTM World Championship on the line. Andy Park looking for glory as well. Tim Stahl behind, tied for the championship lead with Regan Milana. Big implications, how this championship is really going to swing, but Tim Stahl could very easily get P2 the more this battle turns out. Christian not afraid to duel towards the very end. He won the war last time out. I think there were some yellow flags, Ilham and Amili. But meanwhile, watching this fight continue here. There you see how far Tim Stall is. So close to this fight, trying to get into it. Meanwhile, round the final corner, you see that the driver is desperately letting through your race leader here today. At home, going for a first race win. Van Doorn in second. Christian Ramau third, fighting for this championship. Tim Stall fighting for the title as well. The only other drivers outside of it, Evan Steinberg. Well, he's currently sitting in P7. Not able to get into this fight. This is what CMRC is all about. After 50 grueling minutes of racing, we come down to about the final 10, 11 minutes left to go. And the fight still nose to tail on the rear of Mike Van Doorn. Slipstream engaged, and Van Doorn, a little bit of lag it looks like from him. Christian's going to realize that. And is there a late dodge? Oh, he slides him, touches him, rear end, contact is made. Very late dive bomb there from Christian Ramau. It's going to cost him a lot of time. Andy Park is going to have an opportunity to get into this fight here, but just not able to capitalize on that perfect mistake. But it has now entered Tim Stall into this battle. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your battle for P2. 4 cars in it. As this goes down, Regan Milana losing a lot of time on this compound. Side by side, Andy Park on Christian Ramau. Christian will have the inside line, door to door. Tim will try to go around the outside. Will he make it 3 wide? They will. 3 wide on the front straight here at Mandalika. Slipstreaming now. Christian Ramau wants to get back on the inside. It could very easily get messy here, but as they go through into turn 1, it's Christian who was mugged 2 positions, but Christian side by side. There is contact. Contact is made between Christian and Tim Stall. Ramau just going backwards in the span of like 3 corners. And now it's just gotten big time here. Mike Van Doorn, he's gotten away. He's separated for the time being. Tim, championship implications on the line, goes down the inside of Andy Park. Christian Ramau is going to get that, and he's going to go 2 positions in 1. Christian Ramau passing 2 cars in 1 corner. Andy Park side by side with Tim. Contact is made between them. Andy trying to hold on. Could there be even more contact? He gets slided. Both of them are gone. Both of them are gone. This is absolute drama. Tim Stall, Andy Park, nobody wanted to let through. And if we didn't know about contact in the first one, that was the convincing point. The tensions here at Indonesia flaring to the rooftops. Hell, we're gonna get ourselves a Hakkinen and Schumacher at Spa. There may be a fight after this one. The absolute battle these 2 are putting on here. Andy Park did not want to leave any space. It's truly a proper almighty test. And there is still 8 minutes left to go where Regan's win still could be lost here today because the gap is 7.6 seconds and Mike Van Doorn has been released. But for how long? Christian Ramau fighting to get back up to 2nd place. How's this one going to turn out? How is it going to turn out here? 1.3 the difference. Meanwhile, Park is going to want to get this one back under. Remember, you cannot forget Tim Stall has a 10-second time penalty, which he was hoping to get past Van Doorn to break this gap. But unfortunately, after that contact, it's going to send him backwards 10 seconds. Now, we don't know what happened with Andy Park the 2nd round there. So if Andy is responsible for that incident, well, Tim could be securing a P4, but as for Christian and that podium, I don't think he'll be able to nail this one. You never know, though. 8 seconds the difference. Mike Van Doorn is to Regan Milana. Christian Ramau to Mike Van Doorn, 1.3 seconds. Nobody giving up a damn inch in this race. And this is exactly what we love here. A true battle there, and really pushing to their absolute limit here. And CMRC is just delivering another classic race. I thought Donington... No, let's go backwards. I thought Watkins Glen was a classic between Evan Steinberg dominating through the paces. Tim Stahl having to do a last couple-minute defense from Luca Andretti, the Swiss Superman. But then it was topped last week at the British Grand Prix, the fight for P2 between Regan Milana, Peter Sabot, and Christian Ramau topped the cake. But as we head into Indonesia, it's really turned around, where this fight for P2 once again has been, it's been the cake. The sweet dessert we all could not wait for. And I gotta break the news. We gotta wait 7 more days to claim that we see this entire championship in its entirety. Next week out, we got a Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, where anything and everything will go down for the title. An underdog going for it in Regan Milana against a very quick driver, a man who's debuting in CMRSC, Tim Stahl from AC Friends, but one of their fastest drivers in their community. You can imagine how iconic that could be. But Christian Ramau, as we come towards the end of it, he also wants to set himself up for championship implications, and P2 is the perfect spot to do so. Turn 1. They have completed 39 laps. But we're still looking for a race winner. Regan opened up that gap to 10 seconds. He's got some traffic ahead of him in the form of Ilham Lesmana. As the sun coming out just that bit more. Christian all over the rear. Losing a bit of time, however, through the opening section here in the second sector. Hard onto the brakes. Through the right-hander. Kissing the apex goodbye. And now, second right-hander. Flow into the left. You see Van Doorn, very narrow line. Lots of exit he used. Then down the fourth. Hugging the inside curb. Drift it wide. And then set yourself up for the final complex here. Very tricky with these tires. But I can confidently say the top 9 all on the soft compounds at the very end of this one. Final corner for Christian Ramau. Great line here, trying to get it better than Van Doorn. And to the line now, Van Doorn with a 120, 1.201. Christian with a 120.508. 3 minutes left to go. Once that timer expires, that is it. And while we continue this one, Tim Stahl able to open up 7 seconds to Andy Park, which could put Tim a confident P4. But the eyes are on this battle here. Christian Ramau, he goes off the circuit momentarily, trying to chase this one down. Cannot do anything about it. But behind, look at him. There he goes. Tim Stahl, 2 seconds behind this one. If these two have an incident, Tim will be back up to second, and he'll have a gap enough to avoid that 10-second time penalty that he got for cutting the circuit. Oh, Van Doorn off the circuit once again. Losing him so much time. Christian Ramau all over the rear. Looking for the opportunity. You see Torres off the circuit, letting through these 3 drivers. round the final corner, onto the front straight for the 43rd time. Looking to the inside, Christian Romao had the move, backs off, Crawford in the way, blue flags will be appointed to him. He's got to get out the way. Pronto. He's going to do so. It's very tight, and it's a very awkward corner to try to let through drivers. At that point, you might have just go off the outside the white lines, but go slow enough so you don't receive a track limits violation. Stall in this fight. He's about 9/10 behind Christian. This is his best run yet. He's going to go for the long way around. Christian Romao, side by side, going for P2. But Van Doorn is going to shut the door. Over under for Romao. And oh, a little bit of, maybe a little bit naughty there. That defensive move looked like two moves maybe. But you see all of them fighting tooth and nail. This is real, proper touring car racing. And as that continues, look at that, Tim Stall's got him! Tim Stall's got him! Christian lost the rear end, and he's been relegated down to 4th place. 30 seconds left to go. Regan Milana on the final lap of this race. Is this the dream? Is this the storybook for Regan Milana? As for Tim Stall, he's cleared Andy Park. And now chasing down Van Doorn. Can he give Van Doorn enough pressure to scare him off the track, to lose him some time? To, well, or maybe just get himself separated from Christian Romao. But holy, what a race. This has been on the final lap of this Indonesian Grand Prix. It's not over until it's over. The championship will come down to the wire here, ladies and gentlemen. But all eyes and hearts, the love, the support. Regan Milana, the underdog of Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club, the Indonesian driver, will get it done at home. Regan wins at home at Indonesia. Regan Milana is a race winner in Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. Tim Stall defending, trying to hold on to Christian Romao. Van Doorn will finish up in P2. Tim will be relegated down to P4 because Christian will take over P3. What a race, what a fight, but eyes love, what a race from this man, the underdog. Regan Milana takes victory at home. He's done it. He has done it. He has won his very first race in Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. You cannot make it up. It can't get much better than that. That is a true champion's drive from, again, I will always call it, that is a true underdog drive. A mission to get it done. Congratulations to Regan Milana. What a fight that was. Cue the music. Sun sets down here today. Another breathtaking race here today. So much action. Bits of drama here that we'll take a look at after the race. But we'll get through with interviews now. To confirm your podium, it is Christian Romao, Mike Van Doorn, and Regan Milana. Tim, I know you had a 10-second time penalty, so that will relegate you down at the moment for P4. That's your unofficial results. And there you see him. Love it! Lando Projects, shout out to you. You've just made one man happy, and he's got a puncture. All right, let's talk to our drivers, and we're going to start with our man on P1. And before, I'm just going to double check, making sure our Discord is working here to get all the words. All right, so let's drag him up. Regan, let me find your name. There you are, the underdog of CMRSC. Regan Milana, you've done it at home. Your first race win in Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. How do you feel?
Terima kasih, Rahul. Thank you. I can't put into words right now. It all happens too soon. I need some time. I just of all tracks for it to finally happen. It happens to be in Indonesia. It's unbelievable, really.
Well, take us through it. How was that race for you? It was a race where, really, I believe you probably could have saw yourself finishing in any of those podium positions, but P1 coming towards the end of it, it was only a matter of time. But take us through it. How was your race?
First off, I think the moment that seals it for me is when Tim spun, which is honestly very out of character for him. When Andy decided to go for a twist stop, because I had no idea he actually gonna pull it out. But yeah, seeing how slow he is on the hards, I think those two are what seals it for me, really.
Well, talking about the start as well, take us through it, because that was very amazing what you're able to pull off from there to hold on. And then, yes, well, the pit stops really made a point out there. The opening act, take us through that part.
Yeah, those first few battles with Tim was very fun, really. I hope it would have continued a bit longer, but I'll happily take what I can get, really. And honestly, I'm surprised how consistent I am with tires wise. Knowing how awful the hards are in this track, and to be able to stay in the 21s is pretty unbelievable, really. I don't know how I pulled it out.
You got it done, and not only that, you are leading the championship going into the final round with your championship rival finishing in P4. I don't know if you got words for that one, but let me know how you feel right now.
I'm shaking, really. I don't know how I was able to done that, really, with how many aliens in this league right now, and for it to be me leading right now, it's crazy, really. I don't know what to say.
A lot of fans out here from Indonesia. We're checking this one out, especially the creator here of this mod. I'm gonna leave the floor to you if you want to speak in your native language to anybody here from Indonesia supporting you.
Buat teman-teman Indonesia yang udah nonton hari ini, terima kasih banget ya, meskipun jamnya nggak sesuai sama mungkin jam bangun kalian atau apa. Terima kasih buat dukungannya semua, buat Liano Projects juga, buat udah bikin track yang akurat banget. Thank you semuanya.
Congratulations, celebrate it, enjoy yourself, and we'll see you next week to see if you can claim this one and get your first championship in CMRC. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
That's going to do it there for your man in P1. Let's head down the order to P2 of the order. And wow, finally, luck gets turned around for you, Mike Van Dorn. You take P2 in defense that the chat was calling it. I think the Dutch defense there. Coming to the end of that one, lots of chaos, especially having to defend against Christian Ramau. Take us through it. How was that race for you?
I don't know how I got here, to be honest. It's been a very tough championship for me so far. Yeah, I just not really got up to grips with the car fully. So it hasn't really been very good for me, but this race I knew going into it the pace I was a bit closer than on other races, and then I started on the softs, and the rest, I think everyone apart from Tim started on the hards. And Andy also on the softs. So that allowed me to stay with them, and then surprisingly on the hards I had decent pace, so that kept me in it for the final stint. And then found myself out of the pack because of Tim and Andy's shenanigans. I don't know what happened there, but me and Christian decided, screw that, we're pitting. We ended up in front of both of them, so yeah, and then after that it's just defending, trying desperately not to get that final cut track, which I had to brake a few times to avoid it, but Christian also did, so it ended up balancing each other out. But yeah, I mean, it was fun to defend from these guys. Definitely not easy, but yeah, it was good. Surprised to be here.
A bit of a workout, especially at the end. Well, honestly, that whole race, Christian really didn't leave you alone.
Yeah, no, definitely not. He was there for most of it. Of course, we did have a split strategy. He started on the hard, so he pitted earlier than me. So the second half of that first stint, I was basically on my own trying to catch up to Tim and Andy. I was expecting him to be in front of me when I made my pit stop, but I guess he might have made a few mistakes or not been that consistent, so he ended up behind me. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be back up here fighting for, not quite for the win, but for the podium. So yeah, that's very nice. It was a lot of fun.
And definitely a lot of momentum going on your side going into the playoffs. But nonetheless, though, congratulations, Mike. A great P2 back on the podium.
Yeah, thanks.
And then in P3, another battle of the podium. Christian Ramau going back-to-back on the podium. This time P3. More valuable points on the line here for sure. But another fight coming down to the wire. Christian, you finished third. I want you to take us through that one.
My quali was a bit bad, but I could. What position I got in quali?
In qualifying, yeah, I can answer that for you in just about 2 seconds. But actually, I can get that for you right now.
Okay.
So
P5,
we're P3.
Oh, P3.
So P3 to P3.
Just a bit better than I expected, but my first and second stint was good, but my last on the race was a bit slow, so I let Mike be P2. I didn't attack him as I could, and yeah. I remember having an incident with Ivan the second stint. I had to say sorry to him and to Mike as well on the third stint.
One thing that we do want to talk about, kind of going back to that, no, not just the Eamon incident, the idea to go for that early pit stop. Was that a late call? Was that something you always had in mind? To take us through that mindset there.
Yeah, I had since Donington Park. I did something similar to that, and I tried it again to see how it was going to be at the end.
Well, this is huge points going into this championship finale. It's a bit of an uphill battle, but you should be in contention, I think, from the top of my head. Don't count me on that. But going into this last round, how are you feeling? Is there a chance that with this amazing performance that you could convert this one to a race win?
I mean, I drive quite well at Moza. Is one of my favorite tracks, and I hope to get at least a P2 or P3 or P1, of course.
Hope to see you do it. Congratulations on the podium. That's going to do it there for today's race. And I once again want to say a special, massive shout out to Lionel Projects for allowing us to use this incredible mod. If you haven't already, check them out. on Overtake GG. They also have a Patreon that you can go support. And yeah, once again, thank you so much. And all the links are in the description for the circuit if you want to grab the mod. But that's going to do it there for round 4. The final round of the championship. We're heading over to Monza. It's not any normal Monza layout. If we take a little history lesson back to 2023, the first round of the DTM World Championship, we skipped the first chicane and we go flat out straight. So we call it the Monza Speedway, not the banking. So hopefully we can see you guys there. I think we also had a little bit of a kerfuffle with the time zones, especially to some of our viewers who may be tuning in a little bit later. But all that will be sorted now, heading into all the future events here. Not going to miss a single bit of action. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here, especially to all our drivers who made it out, especially with that time zone difference there. And we'll see you next week out. We're going to have our drivers meeting now in the lounge if you want to join us there. But we'll see you 1 week away. Monza, Italian Grand Prix, championship finale, and then we head into the playoffs, Race of Champions. We hope to see you there. Can't wait to see you next week. Thank you, and you'll see you then. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another round of Caribbean Motor Racing Sim Club. And we're going to see you for the finale, where we are going to crown what may be a new champion in CMRSC.